And today we're going to go through kind of a holiday survival guide, okay? Because this month is going to be a challenging time. Okay. So what usually happens this time of year when we're short on time, we get really stressed and our normal routine starts to fall apart. And what happens during the stressful times? We start missing breakfast, skipping meals, overeating, craving sweets to kind of keep our energy up. We'll end up going to the vending machine from poor planning, not bringing what we need to bring. So we're going to go through some tips to definitely try and stay on track during this holiday party season. So what do you do when people push food? Does anyone ever feel like Thanksgiving, for example, even though you're trying to eat healthy or you say no or no thank you, there's those food pushers? Family or friends are like, come on, just have it, have some more. Okay. So we want to focus on, you don't want to disappoint hosts or family or friends, but just focus on, I'm doing this for my health, feeling good, my health is more important, and just learning to manage, control your environment. Have what you want to have, portion out what you want to have, and we're going to go through kind of 10 big key tips. Okay, so definitely there's the holiday foods, but then when we combine our feelings this time of year of mad, glad, sad, afraid, tired, stressed, that definitely equals a lot of high-risk situations. And those high-risk situations is, generally you don't walk into a party setting and they have portioned out 300-calorie snacks for you. Okay, usually you walk in and there might be a veggie tray, might be a fruit platter, fruit bowl, but there is a lot of high fat, high sugar, fried foods, little finger foods, appetizers, things that quickly add up calorie-wise. Okay, so a lot of potential for weight gain. Okay, so our top 10 survival strategies. The first one is to arrive satisfied. You don't want to show up to a get-together, a party setting hungry, okay? A lot of times we do the opposite. We think, let's skip breakfast or lunch to save calories. We show up hungry, but if you show up hungry, you're definitely going to overeat. Whereas imagine if you had, even a snack like you're having right now, right before you go. When you walk in that door and see all those high-calorie finger foods, appetizers, are you going to be in better control than if you'd undereaten all day long to save your calories? Okay? When we do that, we're saving calories to overindulge and do worse than we would have at the party. So it's better to always have that healthy snack right before you go, right out the door, before you show up. Okay? So never arrive hungry. Okay, so here's just a little picture before, whether it's a protein shake, grabbing an apple, fruits, always an easy grab and go, the cut up veggies work well, grab something healthy before you go, because when you walk in that door, it's going to be high calorie drinks, appetizers, sweets. Okay, number 9 is move away from the buffet table. The closer you are to the food, just in proximity, the more calories you're going to consume. The other thing is get a plate, okay? Put everything you eat on a plate. So you see it all kind of come together and add up, versus when we just grab something, nibble it, grab and nibble, and we're standing close by, we're less likely to get a plate, okay? So definitely get a plate. And think about, you guys looked at this slide last week with Linda, if you guys were here, thinking about your Thanksgiving plate. Same with at any party setting. If you're holding a plate in your hand, you can kind of look at your options and make that conscious effort of remembering half my plate should be fruits and vegetables. So how can I fill half that plate? So if there was an option like you guys have today, pile on the raw veggies, find some fruit, you could even put the hummus to count as a protein, or is there a hard-boiled egg, or is there cheese slices? What can you put as a protein? And then the starch, you see, the grain or starch is only a quarter your plate, and that's gonna be for kind of those other, whether it's bread, chips, crackers, other desserts. But putting it on your plate, you quickly see how it adds up and the plate fills versus nibbling, standing close by. Okay. Here's just an example of looking at, certain foods. Like cheese is going to be 100 calories per ounce. An ounce is like a string cheese or those single slices. Crackers, 125 calories an ounce. Chips, 150. Dips, it's a big difference if it's a sour cream based dip or a mayonnaise based dip. A mayonnaise based dip, a tablespoon is going to be 100 calories. So if we're dipping things, that could quickly, 2 bites be 100 calories. Hors d'oeuvres, somewhere around that 70 to 100 calories an ounce. So you can see how quickly the calories add up. So a rule of thumb I like to use is thinking of it as in a party, the typical party foods, most things are going to be about 50 calories a bite. That bite of pumpkin pie was 40 calories. A bite of a lot of popular party foods is going to be around 50 calories. Okay. Number 8 is provide the healthy option. Okay, so volunteer, sign up to bring a veggie tray with like the hummus or a dip that's made with light sour cream or light mayonnaise. Make a low-fat reduced dip, bring the veggies or bring the fruit, okay? And sometimes that sounds like an easy or boring thing to sign up for, but everyone needs that healthy option. And I heard people in some of my other classes came back and said, you wouldn't believe it, there wasn't even a vegetable option at Thanksgiving. Or if there was, it was the green bean casserole or the marshmallow sweet potatoes, things that were extremely high in calorie. So a lot of people found by bringing the healthy option, whether it was roasted or steamed veggies or fruit, a lot of people liked it. And around the holidays, there's a lot of good ideas. So here's some cute ones that I saw of just different, presentations that it wouldn't be hard to put together, but make it festive and, people will love it. Or if you don't want to put it together, there's things that are already done for you. But different ideas incorporating fruits and veggies to make it festive for the holidays. We had people do veggie trays that look like a turkey for Thanksgiving. 2 sent us pictures and took it to parties and said everyone loved it. The kids liked it too. They thought it was funny seeing the fruit and veggies in a holiday shape. So get creative with ways to incorporate the fruits and veggies. But it's always a good idea to bring or provide that one healthy option so at least you have a go-to to snack on. Okay. Number 7 is focus on the people instead of the food. Sometimes if we're standing near the buffet or we get so focused on the food, eating, but trying to roam around, make sure you talk to everyone, socialize, think about the other aspects of the get-together, the holiday, why are you there? It's to see people and catch up. So focus more on that than just the food. Another thing is if you're right-handed, you tend to grab food with your right hand. If you're left-handed, you grab food with your left hand. Hold your drink in the hand that's your dominant hand. So put that, low-calorie drink in your right hand and it's harder to nibble when you're holding your drink in that hand. And sometimes whether it's sparkling water, having something in your hand, people are less likely to push food or drinks. Like, oh, I'm good, I have a drink, versus if someone comes up to you and hands you, we'll look at drinks in a minute, but a high-calorie drink or a high-calorie food item. If you have something in your hand, people usually are more likely to kind of leave you alone. Like you've had snacks, you've ate, you're good. But it helps to switch the hand you're holding your drink. Number 6 is cross-examine. So think about what you're eating. Even as a dietitian, it can be very hard to guesstimate calories. You never know what sauces, what creams. I mean, I always guess high or guess for the worst, I guess. But it can be challenging. But if you think about it, you can make a pretty good guess. So at a party, if you have the option of cheese and crackers or veggies and dip, what would you guys go for? The veggies and dip. Even if the dip's going to be a high calorie, at least the veggies are there to counteract it. Where the crackers are going to be a medium in calorie and the cheese is going to be a high calorie. So no matter what the dip is, if you can get some veggies with it, it'll be better. What about roast beef or ham? It depends on the cut. In general, roast beef would be a lower calorie. Because it's a darker, you see more of the dark coloring, whereas the ham will have more of the marbling. And the ham's going to be generally a higher sodium. And a lot of the ham's honey baked, so kind of has the sweetness on it too. So in general, the roast beef. If there was a turkey up there, we would know that would be our kind of first lowest option, would be choosing the turkey. So what about pigs in a blanket or mini quiches? What do you guys think there? Shaking your head like both are a bad choice.
Quiche.
The quiche would be better? That's good. Most quiches, there is the pastry shell, the outside that's going to have a lot of butter in, but the inside of most quiches is egg whites. So there's a little bit of cheese, but there's spinach. It's mainly egg whites. Whereas with the pig in the blanket, you have the same buttered pastry on the outside, but a fatty meat sausage on the inside. So it's going to be solid, high fat there. So the quiche would be better. Sometimes it's just looking at size too. Is not necessarily there, but is the quiche smaller, or is it something is there a knife nearby? I can take a taste of something versus feeling like you have to sample a whole one of everything. So read your napkin. Another thing is, if you don't have the plate and you take something on a napkin, or sometimes you're at a party where they're passing it around and it's given you a napkin, if when you look down and your napkin is covered in grease, that's going to be an item we don't want to go back for seconds. Okay, so often just looking at the napkin or sometimes the plate that the food item was put on, you can tell if it's just saturated in butters and oils, which is going to be our biggest, offender. So check your napkin. If your napkin's dry afterwards, that's going to be a healthier option. Next week, we're going to look a lot at beverages, so I'm not going to go into it as much today, but definitely number 5 would be watch your fluids. Okay, we know when we drink our calories, it doesn't fill us up. Outside of some kind of blended, like a protein shake can fill us up, has protein in there, but outside of that, most fluid calories, beverages, things we drink do not give satiety. Okay, so if we're eating as well as drinking calories, it adds up really fast. Okay, so really watch the drinks. Okay, so water's always a go-to. If you can do coffee or tea, either straight, black, or with artificial sweetener or minimal calories, you can do that. Watch juices, watch alcohol, of course. We'll look at more kind of the calorie content of some of the traditional holiday beverages next week. But really, if you're gonna indulge in a little of the food, really try and cut back on the beverages. A lot of people will get by with just sparkling soda water with, lime or something in it. Most people don't know what you're drinking as long as you're just holding a glass. Okay, so again, some of the high calories are eggnog, the brandy Alexander, pina coladas, any of the mixed drinks, any drinks that have juices or cocktail mixes in them. Whereas lower calorie would be spritzer or soda water with a splash of juice, portioned out wine. There's low-fat versions to some of the holiday drinks too, like the eggnog, which is in general a really high calorie. So watch the beverages. Another thing is, we have New Year's and holidays. If you want to do a toast, kind of save the bubbly till midnight, or save the one drink until the toast, midnight, whatever it is, versus starting on the high calorie drinks, right when you get to the party, and it kind of continues that way. Number 4, you guys looked at this last week. Do a recipe modification, a holiday meal makeover. Typically, in a normal day, they say most people, we see our weight going up. Society as a whole, our weight is increasing. The rate of overweight and obesity is increasing. They say on average, people tend to overconsume about 200 calories a day. On Thanksgiving and Christmas, they say the overconsumption is in the thousands, okay? So easily a holiday day can be 2,000-3,000 calories, okay? So we really wanna watch that. They said Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and the day after New Year's Day are also, you see, a 25% increase in calories. So it's not always just the holiday, it's the day after with the leftovers, no schedule, that also tends to be problematic. So really watching that, sending leftovers home, throwing out certain foods, not having those temptations and trigger foods around helps. So this is kind of a refresher from Linda talking to you guys with Thanksgiving too, but the big things is when you look at a recipe, can you reduce the fat and can you reduce the sugar? Okay, so some good ways. Oops. Some good ways to just kind of lower the fat is if it calls for milk, using a lower fat milk. You can use yogurt instead of a cream. Low-fat sour cream, a low-fat dressing. Desserts, you can do sugar substitutes. You can bake with Splenda, a Cool Whip. Sometimes it's just cutting the sugar down by 1/3 with the recipes. It still comes out the same. So there's a lot of, the internet can be dangerous, but it also can be good if you specifically look for, a low-calorie, this recipe. And if it gives you the nutrition information, you can kind of start comparing and find a lower calorie version of a favorite snack or meal. So here's kind of the typical American plate that has our large portion of meat, a high-fat starch, and even the vegetable there is peas, which is good, but a high carbohydrate, starchy vegetable. So our plate has started to kind of come around. What we really want to look at is that plate again, and how do we set up our plate? We want half our plate to be ideally vegetables or put some fruit in there. But here's an example of a little side salad, some berries either before or after with the meal. We're loading up on so many low-calorie fruits and vegetables that then we can stick to the appropriate portion of meat and starch. Whereas when often we sit down to a meal and it's all pasta and meat sauce, or there's no vegetables, we're gonna overeat the meat and the starch, which is where there's more fat and definitely more calorically dense. So whenever in doubt, load up on the fruits and vegetables. Okay. Number 3 is fit in your fitness. It's so easy to get busy this time of year. You know, go to the gyms now while they're empty versus in January when they're going to be busy. You know, take advantage of that. Not as many people are working out right now, but you need to start banking those extra calories, burning calories now for when your intake's a little higher over the holidays. Okay, and also it helps with just stress relief, increase in mood, positive thinking. Days we exercise, we tend to watch our food intake more. Okay. Little things count too. You know, just saying, you know, from now through the new year, I'm gonna, whenever I can, take the stairs. I'm not gonna take an elevator. I'm going to park farther away to get in my walking when I'm running around. Even when you don't have that half hour, hour set aside in your day to get in the physical activity you want, you can still break it up and find time to do 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, take the stairs, park farther away. If you need to catch up with a friend, instead of sitting down at a coffee shop, let's go for a walk and catch up. Finding ways to still get in your fitness is going to help. Here's a little thing that looks at, right now the recommendation is pretty much to burn 2,000 calories from physical activity in a week. So if you break that down, it averages about 300 a day, which it depends on your weight, but that would be anywhere from exercising fairly consistent 30 to 60 minutes a day. Okay, so we all burn calories at a different rate. But if we take kind of an average weight, and you miss one day of your physical activity, in the year that adds up to 4.5 pounds. So sometimes we think, oh, we just missed a day, we got in, or we say we exercise 5 days a week, but how many weeks on the calendar can we actually check all 5 days or all 6 days? So missing that one day here and there, if that happens fairly consistently, it does add up. And then the other thing is when we're not doing our exercise, what are we doing? Okay, our focus tends to be down as well. When we're not getting in our exercise, our focus on our health tends to be not as heightened. Number 2 is take the time to plan. This time of year, more than any time of year, you need to be planning. So thinking about your meals for the week, getting to the grocery store, having the things on hand you need, so it doesn't come down to last minute needing to run out and grab something quick and easy. Because quick and easy, if we haven't planned, is not always good. At home, if we plan for quick and easy, we can have leftovers from the night before, we can, make it easy, but it takes some planning, okay? Okay. Bring snacks with you while shopping. Bring water with you. Have things in your car. If you're out running errands too long or end up at the mall too long, that's a dangerous place for grabbing something healthy that's quick and easy on the go. Okay? So, think about even the snacks you've had attending these classes. Quick, easy things that you can have in baggies, with you on the go. Dinners that are pre-made, ready to be heated, in a crock pot, a casserole you can throw in the oven, leftovers you can have a different way. The planning's gonna help. A lot of people get overwhelmed too this time of year with the gifts or needing a gift to bring somewhere, and then when you go to buy that gift, you fall to tasty temptations as well. There's a lot of healthy gift ideas. Those are some like wellness gift certificates. Typically we see a lot of this over the holidays. Okay. There's also some healthy things you could bring to a party. There's flowers arrangements, there's plants, there's a ton of different fruit baskets, you know, fruit, low-fat spreads, you know, things like that, and people really enjoy it. And number one is just remember the big picture. You know, what are the holidays really about? You know, thinking about it's about reconnecting with friends, family, spending that time together, less on the food, you know, or being willing to branch out and try something new, like bringing one of the healthy appetizers or, you know, the planning. These are kind of some tips for impulse control when you feel like you're in that high-risk situation and it's not going well. The first thing to do is just pause, stop, then relax, take a deep breath, and reflect. You know, what am I choosing between? What's the decision? What's the pro? What's the con? And then you make your decision. Am I going to do this? How much? What am I going to do to make up for it? It's all going to come down to that balance of calories in versus calories out. Okay, so we have to, okay, I've exercised extra this week, I can take a bite of that and, you know, not feel guilty. Because the other thing is we don't want to get in that failure cycle of feeling guilty, which then spirals out of control. Okay, so often just stopping for a minute and thinking about it helps. Okay, so the question is, you know, do you have a plan in place to maximize your success over the holidays? The big thing is just planning, having a plan, and then saying, this is my plan, I'm going to stick to it. Because when we show up at a party or family get together and we haven't thought about it at all, and just on the spot, we just go fly by the seat of our pants, it usually doesn't go very well. But if you've thought about it ahead of time, this is how I'm going to handle it, this is what I'm going to say, this is what I'm going to bring, this is what I'm going to eat beforehand, you can do it. You'll do great. And you guys can definitely manage your weight over the holidays. Okay, so I have a handout that I will give you guys that kind of summarizes the main strategies. So you guys can take that with you. Okay?